What's up, guys? What's up, everyone? Blessings to the people, love to the people of the world, peace. This video pretty simple. So, guys, I've been enjoying my new phone experiment and idea. I came up creative for these little container here. It's a nice new plant shoot. It's already had some root. Some of it is kind of rotten off because it's sitting in the water a little too long, but you can see fresh root coming off it. So basically, guys, these are some old pumpkin. This one is more like a texture of a gourd. You have that hard texture, hard surface. So after Halloween, yearly I've seen these things getting thrown away. So I've been utilizing them and making flower spot to regrow plant. Be right back, give you guys an example of something I have going on already. Check this out. So this is a pumpkin. So basically a pumpkin seedling growing inside a pumpkin. You know, so I pull out the pumpkin seed. So one could use some extra soil I see here. So I have some soil. And I add some to protect this one. Is getting a bit too overgrown for the container, so it's falling over a bit. And so as soon as it get growing up, I'm gonna put something to chalice. The whole idea, I can transplant these in the soil and it can compose. You know, so I'm utilizing these. It's a great feeling. I'm so excited that I thought of this idea. And so I'm gonna transplant small plants and then plant them outside in the ground in the spring. Here's another one. This one is kind of more petrified. This is this type of pumpkin, so it's more soft. As you can see, this one kind of create a whole petrified dry type of texture. But it's cool. I really thought that these are a great idea, and I really happy that I find the thought of it and find it useful. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, share, and look forward to other content. Appreciate you guys. Stay blessed. Love to the people and everyone. So I like this. Look forward to other video showing different highlights and different plants that I may have growing in these pots here. So I'm definitely excited for this whole idea. And to all the folks that get rid of these every year after Halloween, you know, so this is my purpose for these right now. But yeah, I can't help out. This one is a whole different. But as you can see, it's a different plant to deal with to begin with. Different type of pumpkin. So this one I haven't used yet. It's started to swivel up a bit, you know, and start to, as you can see, it's losing its texture. And probably all the moisture in it is slowly evaporating type of thing, you know. So that one is creating a whole different effect. So this one I realize that once you use them, you do, unless you get this type of effect, then obviously this can stay for a while, you know, and you don't have to worry about transplanting it too early, you know. But this one does have a softer effect. As you see, this one is more a gourd, hard texture. It does create these underneath the bottom, so it's not something where you can sit it in water really too much, you know. So, and these from just the extra water, and this one has been sitting for a minute and was sitting with the soil in it before I put the plant in it, you know. So, but yeah, this is a pumpkin seedling, very new and fresh, and who knows if this pumpkin, it can survive until I'm ready to plant pumpkin outside. But this was more of an experiment, overall. So let's see if how long it's gonna last in this container for. But yeah, I can't help but to think, our leaves that go to waste every year, and the sky's the limit with them, sometimes I see dozens and dozens of them just go to waste. And that's just up from a small table. These ones, the idea of them was for creative art project, like there were folks would paint the face on them or whatever, so. But I mean, you see hundreds of them out there in the local shopping center places, they like to use them to decorate like garden area. I know that they do plant these typically seasonally for the purpose of for that, Halloween and carving and decoration. But can't help but to think that there's a lot of food that go to waste in the mix and a lot of pumpkin that could have put to better use in the sense, or so it's not always my favorite thing as far as how much I see go to waste, but that's not my thing, that's not my control. That's been a culture way before me and will continue way after me, so ain't much to say, rather than it's not necessarily my cup of tea, and I would rather see in some of those food, even if you want to say that those are just plant are bred for that purpose, then plant real food to feed the world. There's many people that could utilize and eat some of that food that been just taken for art or for joke or for decoration. But yeah, it's my newfound purpose, and this is my new idea. I'm enjoying utilizing, being creative with these pumpkin that would have gone to the garbage instead, and to say garbage cannot everything go to the compost, all these could be compost, but I'm sure some of it don't make it all into compost. So I wouldn't say that it go back to the soil, but I'm finding great purpose for them, and as this plant, I'm looking for a few days a week from now, it start to grow new leaf. This is actually a Christmas cactus type of plant. It's a cool plant that flower around Christmas season and beyond. It does like a lot of water during the time when it's blooming. So I realize that, and I'm learning that about that plant. So if you don't give it a lot of water during that time, it might shed the bloom earlier than expected. So it's a cool plant though. I love it. And this was one of them also. Yeah, smaller one I planted a while back. Just an experiment. But I see where it's sending off new roots. They can see off the side right there. It look almost looking like it's not the healthiest, but it was just a piece of stem in the beginning, and obviously you can see new shoot and new growth coming off it. So it's still an experiment that I would say a success, And but yeah, this one though, the way that it create this crystallized petrified type of a surface, it's awesome. Instead of decompose fully, it create a whole protective layer around, the soil. But I did see where it kind of shrunk, create the soil to rise a bit on the top of it, even higher than the container surface itself, so it's a whole different effect. This one I feel is more suitable. And obviously once you cover it and put it in the ground, whether it's a container pot or you're gonna put it outside, you totally, decompose. And burying it underneath whatever surface, either in a pot, because obviously if this was going in a pot, it's not that big, you could be covered easily, and you don't have to worry. In a ground even more so, sooner or later you'd have root coming up out of all of this. Even before it penetrate the side or before the side decompose, you're gonna have roots of the plants coming up just all over outside of it, run into your existing soil that you or your new soil that you create, or your new home for this plant. So I find this a great way to utilize these container and to get them to compost back in the soil without you worrying about transplant. That's the whole thought and the idea of it, that sometimes you transplant a plant from the existing container, it can create shock or something. So in this sense, you plant something in this type of container, you don't have to move it, you don't have to do anything, rather than transplant whenever you're ready. So for me, it's a win-win. This to me is a very exciting, And yeah, I'm glad I did find this purpose. So every October, time after Halloween, the end of that month, I'm gonna be looking forward to taking these anywhere they are, bigger ones, smaller ones, and this is gonna be my new thing. And I also use coconut. That's another one. I'm gonna share a video with you guys soon. Me using a solid coconut I cut into container that I'm gonna use to make flower pot like this. And also that one is the sky's the limit with the coconut. You can consume food from that one, drink from it. You can turn into a cup or a utensil. In the house. Cause I've seen coconut spoon and forks. So the sky's the limit with coconut as far as the texture of coconut go. Matter of fact, let me show you something. Alright, this is one of my coconut version. As you can see, still have soil in it, so need to plant something in it. But as I expressed, coconut is a lot more solid. The only thing that would break this, unless it fall, on the ground hard enough where it create crack. But it's not easy to break a coconut as just a simple impact. You have to definitely give it a strong, powerful impact to break through. So people use it to make like jewelry, carving, a different type of usable thing, art or whatever. But same thing, I thought of the idea these ones were just sitting, as you see, even the coconut flesh is on the inside of some of it. I didn't break through all of it. Figure that it can be a good fertilizer to whatever I plant in here. So I kind of leave some, as you see, these are pieces of coconut. These white layers you see around the edge. So it's inside of it while I, put the soil as well. So, but yeah, this is another version of it, utilizing these type of material that would have go to waste typically. I can imagine if I was in the Caribbean, the access I would have to how much coconut for this. And the whole thought of coconut as well, guys, cocoa pour, or is one of the most popular thing for transplanting, especially when it comes to seedling. That cocoa pour is really popular, and it's a great growing additive for your plant, or overall. Some people use pure cocoa pour to just plant seedling in, or you can mix it, use it in your other soil and mix it to give more aeration and just more body to your soil. In the sense of you, like for example, if a soil is more clay, you can mix it and take it from a ratio to where it's not all bonding together. Using cocoa pour, perlite, peat moss, and all of those extra additive that you can use to create your own, especially making a potting mix. A potting mix have to be more loose and more airy. So, what I mean? But yeah, so when my thought was it that growing up, I never know that coconut was so useful, is in sense, so all the coconut husks and all of that is what they grind and use to make cocoa pour. So I'm just looking forward to be in that environment again, to be in Jamaica, having access for so much coconut falling off the tree. And what I would use it for now, that I know. I would just have something that I would use to grind it into the perfect consistency. And that's all I would use. I would use so much of it in my compost, in my soil mix, use it as I express as natural as it is for like seedling. As I went at the dollar store the other day to actually that's where check this out. I got a bunch of seeds. Not all of these from the one spot, but there's some different seeds that I got all over. But I thought of it when I think about going to the dollar store the other day. So all kind of seed, guys. Cucumber, some beets. As you can see, these are some spring onion, some radish. Typically spring onion and radish. I normally don't plant much radish over the time, but being a vegetarian vegan, to say, I'm gonna redo back some thyme. My thyme is not doing the best right now. Some switch chard. More switch chard. But yeah, I have a good handful of seeds to start growing and start seedling early inside. You know, it's February right now, more in the earlier part of February, so I can definitely start some seed, but I'm thinking to wait a little bit more close to the middle or the end of February, you know, because I don't want to get too ahead of myself where the plants get too big. For example, this pumpkin seedling, it's gonna be huge by the time I could, you know, put these outside safely in sometime in May, you know, after my last frost. So that's something important, you know, starting your plant inside. It's very important to know your last freezing frost date in your zone, you know. And if you don't know that, you can always Google that. You can ask at a nursery, your local gardening center, you know what I mean, or yeah, those are the best place to ask. Local gardening center, an expert gardener, you know, or like I said, Google. The you also have the farmer's almanac as well, you know. So you just basically check out your zoning and see when is your last frost. You know, that's when you want to judge to see what the frame for you to give you room to start your plant inside, because you know you definitely can be on the wrong side of that where you started too early, or as well you cannot exceed on the time that you have where you could actually start it earlier and get better result, you know, when time you're ready to go plant. You know, a lot of times I don't get around to that, so sometimes I buy plant at Home Depot to just be on the efficient side, you know, or you know, sometimes starting directly outside in the soil, you know, when comes spring on the right time, you know. You don't get ahead of yourself doing that, you know, you're kind of behind, you know, in the season. Sometimes you find yourself with vegetable doesn't reach its full potential. The best growth of your vegetable is at the end of fall, you know, when you're losing daylight time and when you're losing more time to cool, you know. So it's earlier it's better, but timing is you know is important. And as you know, the importance for growing, you need water, sunlight, and nutrients. Is say to three of the you know, oxygen, sunlight, nutrients, you know, and water. It's great importance that you need for a healthy plant, or to even grow plant in that sense. You know, you have some plant that doesn't do, you know, well in sunlight, you know, some house plant or what, but most vegetables and things that you grow need sunlight, you know. And even the ones that doesn't need a lot still need good light and air and oxygen. And you know, so but anyway, I'm gonna take this one here. Look forward to see you guys on the next video. If you like this content and like this idea, share your thoughts. I think I'm gonna probably put this one in here as well. Why not? Because it come down to it, I can transplant both of these in the same container. Make it a more, you know, dense plant. Now, the one could be fine, but I need a ton of the same plant at the moment, you know. So I use these two for this container. Wait, if you like this content, share your thoughts. You know, subscribe to my channel. You know, all that good stuff. Support the journey. But yeah, if you like this content and the whole idea of this, utilizing this old pumpkin, more like a gourd texture. If you like this idea, share your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section. Subscribe to my channel. That's very important as well, you know. Helping me to grow. You know what I mean? We'll get better at content and one day invest into some good equipment, you know, to come better at you guys, you know. I see myself in the future maybe creating content out of Jamaica, you know, because as soon as certain things fall into place, I will be spending a lot of time out back, you know, at my homeland. So I'm looking forward to that as well. You know what I mean? I have some nice land waiting for me to develop out there into farming and gardening. And I know I have more at my disposal, you know, as obviously all year round good weather to grow and, you know, good soil and just good organic material more to use and just more space. You know, that's important as well. So I know that the future is going to be a lot of that where, you know, you're going to see me in Jamaica a lot and creating content and growing food out there. So I hope by then I have better equipment, you know, gearing for this process and this whole adventure. You know, and by then I learn a few more things about editing and, you know, all that about video, coming to you with wonderful content, you know what I mean? That's my future and that's my goal. Because I admire YouTube, you know, guys. I remember when I just started, my whole influence was just really, I was bored, you know, and when I came here to America, I didn't have family and friends around me here, you know, so, you know, I always garden anyway. From day one, I brought seed from Jamaica, I remember, you know, different, whatever, even flowers, you know, those different things I plant, you know. But I always grow from day one. It's my passion, you know, my passion is, I like to play sport for sure, you know, but art and gardening is my slow down day to day passion as far as finding time for myself and connecting with the earth and, you know, being out there. You know, so when I move here, guys, and you know, not having certain family and friends and what I used to, you know, walking on the street, hanging out with my friends and just being in that environment, it was different, you know. So trust me, it changed me to in a lot of way and just my headspace in the way in how I think, the time I spend with myself and all of that, you know. I had to learn how to cope and how to navigate through all of that experience, you know. I would say not all of it is have been great, but it molded me into more who I am and in an independent way. And, you know, I to say, for example, when my grandma passed away, in both of them actually in 2017, that was hard, you know, it was very difficult. You know, I have, you know, gone and support both occasion, but things was never the same, you know, going back home was never the same, you know, and, you know, rest in peace to those guys, you know, so. But yeah, a lot of things may change and sometimes things don't go as you want, you know. Even in recent months, I've been dealing with a lot of personal struggle and personal setback. You know, we're not gonna go into all of that right now, but you know, maybe one day I may share my story, you know. But it's very touching and a very tough story, and trust me, even that mold me into a better person who I am, holding the faith, and you know, a humble person as I grew up, and you know, my way of life in the sense, you know. I choose more positivity, as you can see, Rastafari way more. You know, not to say I'm this perfect Rasta person as far as, you know, some people might put it, but I'm actually more Rasta than many people in a sense, you know, because my way of life, I'm a lot more conscious, and that's the thing with Rasta and a Rasta livity. It's not a religion necessarily, you know, it's a way of life and the level of consciousness, you know, you carry within. And I've always carried that from a kid, you know what I mean? So even without the hair, you know, even from way back then, they used to call me, you know, young Ras or, you know, little Ras or whatever, just anything to associate with Ras. So people who know me growing up know that I always have this levity and I always have this love, this humbleness, and just this peace within me that, you know, so if I didn't have that, in the sense, a lot of what I've been through, I could have gone down another road and, you know, turn myself into something else that I don't want to, or, you know, people action led you to do the wrong stuff or to react against their action, you know. So for me, it's love. For me, it's more peace. You know, that's what the world need overall. You know what I mean? And more togetherness, you know, and oneness. You know what I mean? So definitely look forward, you know, that things may change. You know, it may not be a month to say, you know, within a year, but hopefully sooner than later, actually, as for me, you know. And as I said, I'm not going into all details as to certain reason or what, at least right now, you know what I mean? So wait until the could chip fall into the black a bit more, you know. So, but yeah, I definitely see, you know, spending good quality time in Jamaica, probably more of my time in the near future, you know what I mean, and living off the land. I rest in peace again, one of my late grandma leave me a nice piece of land and a 14.5 acre that we grew up on, rich, fertile land, you know, full of food and vegetable. And that's the thing, you know, if you don't reap vegetables and food, guys, you know, it's not to say even vegetable, because obviously if you don't reap certain vegetable, in no time it's gonna die. But the same thing grow for a fruit tree. If you have a mango tree and it come year and year that no one is picking it, some signal sent to that plant and it doesn't produce, it stop producing as much, you know. So I remember mangoes that we used to eat so much of, you know, growing up, eventually you know, not producing as much because no one is there on those land consuming those plants. Everyone get old and migrate, you know, all elder ones passed away, you know, so the land is not utilizing and being taken care of the same as, you know, and the plants are not being showing love, and you know, we're not there breathing onto them, you know, picking fruits, enjoying it, showing the appreciation, and those plants have a purpose to live for, you know. Plants have a consciousness, you know. And trust me, they connect and they know, and they they're even more powerful than us to the nature and to the because they grounded. We always worry about grounded. A plant already grown, and if a plant is not grounded, what is it gonna do? Because even if a plant in a pot container that's still grounded, is rooted into the soil, and that you can't get more grounded than that. So imagine being outside too. So the plants have consciousness, and they're alive, and they obviously they live in. They may not be able to talk to us or whatever, but I'm sure they're out there talking to themselves and whistling in the wind. So, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward for those moments and for being where my heart is, because I feel like I came here. I honestly can put it that way. It's like my body left and come to America, and my spirit always in the hills and the valley. In Jamaica. So I felt sense that moment coming sooner than later. That it's time to just go back to where the heart is and where home is really, in the sense. So peace, love to the people. I look forward to see you on the next video. And as I express, if you like this video, just share your thought, subscribe to my channel, support the journey in that sense, and that definitely encourage me in the way more. That at least out there somebody is finding change or finding use to what I'm doing here, and that's what's important, that one person, that one change is why, I want inspire to do something, that, you don't have to change the whole world at once or anything, but start one, grow up, say one cocoa full basket, you know what I mean? So same thing with my subscriber, one cocoa full basket, so that one click on one subscribe, and I will get to the point of where I want. And as a YouTube, let me touch back on this in the say before I cut off, as I keep saying I'm gonna cut. And I think I tap on that and got distracted a bit and never followed through exactly in the same video that, my idea of this YouTube thing was to escape in, just have a platform, kind of, as I express, not having family and friend when I move here. So there's some place to be, I mean, on a platform to share my passion and my love for gardening and art, living off the land. So never was a immediate intention to say I want to be monetized, I want to make money off YouTube, but if, seeing all the inspiration out there with all different influencers, all YouTuber, and realize that opportunity folks create and the way that they have chance to give back, I want to be in that position, because and 9 to 5 cannot really do that unless you're a business owner and you're doing great and exceeding average. Being like 9 to 5, you can only share a little of what you have and then you go back to try to make it back. I mean? So for the YouTube thing, even if you're working 9 to 5 and monetize and earning a little bit, even if it's not big as many others on here, you still can share and you have more room to breathe and just to live more. I mean, that's I want that. And like I said, I'm always a giver and always a person that share. So the sky is the limit. So the more I have, the more I give. So I can imagine if I find success on here, how much people is gonna be beneficial from this, from my success and my opportunity that I would have. So I've never been a selfish person. I share the loss I have over and over and over. I've done that. So I can imagine having abundance. You know what I mean? So that's my goal, my vision now, and my goal, to create abundance in the sense where, if I see YouTube bring that for me, that would be awesome, because, it's not just for me, then it's for my family, loved ones, and any stranger, anybody out there that I can stretch onto at any given time. Whether you're in beside me or somewhere around the world, I mean, there's different way to reach out to people, and the more you have, the more you give. At least that for me, and so I want more for that purpose, so now I vision and inspire to gain monetization for just that purpose. Now it's not just say I'm sharing out of board. I just wanted a space to be, or create a new community. I mean, all that is all included as well. But I inspire more to gain more opportunity and more privilege out of it, and gaining monetization or being monitor, is a great way to achieve that. And so I'm looking forward to that moment as well, and that day when that come, because I know there's so much that I want to do and haven't be able to do as much, and people that I want to touch in that sense. I help change your life as much as I can, even though it's not like you're sent here to do all of that in a way, but as far as we grow up giving and caring and that, you know, and there's many people that don't have the opportunity, and if I can create ways for them, I would definitely do it, you know. But if your hands are tied, your hands are tied, and if you're not in a position, there's so much you can do, you know. So as for me, when I'm in the position, everyone will know, and a lot of people will be touched and blessed. So I'm looking forward for that moment, looking forward for that privilege. Until then, as I said, subscribe. You like my hat? Really nice piece of hat, you know. Until then, guys, subscribe to my channel. Support the journey. Be a part of my community. Be a part of the movement. You know, we will get to better quality as what you may want or what other people are doing out there. You know, but for me right now, it's just raw and uncut, pure live moment in real time. You know, if a mistake make, typically you probably would see it in the video as well sometime. You know, so you know we are not perfect, and before we're perfect, you know we have to start from somewhere before perfection come into it. So this is it right here. So see you on the next video. Love to everyone. Peace to the people. Keep going at whatever you're doing. Keep pushing. Don't let anyone tell you different. You know, you never know when the moment will change. Or it could be just at one time or just one moment you chose to give up. And that could be your setback and your downfall. And that one moment you chose to push a little more, that could be the life-changing moment. So keep pushing. Keep moving forward. Keep loving and supporting each other. You know, family is everything really. But family doesn't always come in blood either. So real ones are out there. The world is still, I would say, good things are about to come. You know, there's a lot of chaos happening all over, but you know, it's love and peace is gonna change it, and togetherness. You know, there's nothing else beyond that in the sense. You know, war and crime and violence never gonna take us anywhere. It's gonna cause chaos and you know division and all that. You know, so until then, peace to everyone, love. See you on the next video. All right.